You click for the thumbnail and I promise you we'll get to Dory. Trust me, we'll get to Dory. But first, I think we should cover the basics. Genshin is gifting us a new endgame mode with co-op, and no one does co-op theory crafting, so let's talk about it. By the way, a lot of these tips assume a group of 4 people. Just keep that in mind. In general, there's 4 things to keep an eye on, and the first one is... a ton of buffs in Genshin Impact only buff your active character or your party. In co-op, your party or your active character only applies to the unit or units that you yourself are controlling, so your friends don't get any benefit from it. One of the big ones for this is...
anyone need a coach?
all of Yonson's beneficial effects say current active character, meaning in a 4-man group, she's the only one who gets the attack buff and is healed. Basically, she's useless in co-op. Okay. Number 2. You probably know that most of the energy generated in the game comes from elemental skills, and if you've seen my short about energy generation, you also know that characters on field receiving the energy gain more energy than characters that are off field. Well, in co-op, energy is generated by every player, every character is spamming their skills, and in 4-man co-op, no one is off field. So energy generation is through the roof. While some people might think of a certain chef because of this, I think there's a different option.
Let's go get ourselves some answers.
Yelan's slow scaling damage percent buff only applies to herself, which some people might think is unfortunate, but have you considered that the only thing keeping Yelan back is her energy requirements? The only reason Yelan and Xingqiu generally perform the same DPS wise is because she needs a ton of ER to keep her burst up. With the requirement dropped, she can run Slingshot or even her signature weapon, and her performance goes through the roof. With HP scaling, high uptime, good Hydra application to set up teams, and frankly brain-dead execution, she's basically a budget Nouvelette in co-op. 3. In 4-man co-op, every player has no other character to swap to. This means that if your unit has downtime, you better make sure they do enough damage when they are in their uptime. It also means that infinite uptime units perform significantly better than you'd expect. For example...
time to begin work?
versus...
you got a side job for me?
Wriothesley in normal play outperforms Ganyu. However, this assumes a normal rotation that forces Ganyu off the field so all the supports can go. Wriothesley, on the other hand, has a timed buff. Ganyu does not. Basically, in single player rotations, Ganyu is balanced around her not being able to be on field the entire time. So what happens when Ganyu never needs to be on field? Well, she's better Wriothesley. Another example for this is
My blade will lead us through the shadows.
the value for uptime also affects artifact choice. Cloran's best set normally is Whimsy, and Thundering Fury isn't that good since the increased uptime isn't something that you can make effective use of. Well, in co-op, you can. Point number 4. In most teams in normal play, there's 1 or maybe 2 reactions that you try to keep up that help maintain your hypercarry. In order to do this, you use a less powerful off-field damage support to maintain auras or buffing supports that swirl or otherwise res shred. In co-op, you don't have off-field supports, but that's fine. I don't need Xiangling to vape Mualani because I can vape her with Arlecchino and do a ton more damage. I don't need Sucrose to VV Shred for Cloran because I can VV Shred with Chaska and do a ton more damage. I don't need Auroron to proc Cinder City because I can Cinder City with Veressa and do a ton more damage. This is why the usual broken supports aren't broken in co-op. They're only broken because they're the best off-field applicators of their element. And in co-op, again, no one is off-field. Looking at these 4 rules, you can basically summarize it even further. No one is off-field. That's the big change. All the changes for co-op stem from that. Again, this assumes you have a party of 3 or 4. In a party of 2, you have a mix of single player and multiplayer interactions, but I trust you can figure it out from there. By the way, I'm also announcing a Stygian Onslaught tournament that I'm hosting in July, Perilous Co-op. It's a 4v4, pick ban, speedrun style tournament. If you've seen my previous vids on pickban, you probably have some kind of an idea, but if you want more information, or sign up, or look for a team, then check out the Discord. Let's talk about some more unique character situations. 1.
In the name of the Prinzessin.
A ton of Fischl's damage is in her Ascension 4 passive. This passive still procs while she's on field, but only when she herself is the one proccing it. This significantly reduces her performance, especially compared to normal on-field carries like Varessa or Cloran. So don't expect to be using Fischl anytime soon. 2.
I won't hold you back. Much. I will lead us to victory.
Sarah and Bennett are attack buffers. Unlike Eon-san, they have specific field conditions that cause the attack buff, which don't have the current active character phrase. So, they go from buffing 1 unit to up to 4. This extends to Sarah's crit damage buff for Electro units. Of course, one of these buffs goes to Sarah or Bennett themselves, but it's still worth it. If you have a team of attack scalers that can accommodate them, Sarah and Bennett remain some of the strongest supports in the game. Number 3.
Come on, let's go. There's a fortune to be made.
Finally, let's talk Dory. Since I expect no one to know how Dory works, here's a summary. 1. She does pitiful damage. Enemies coming into contact with her tether take a small hit every 0.4 seconds. 2. She heals a decent amount. Anyone connected to her tether heals every 2 seconds. Kind of annoying when you swap around a bunch. 3. She generates some flat energy. Characters connected to her tether gain some flat energy every heal proc, up to 15 total flat. Again, kind of annoying if you swap a bunch. So basically, she does a bunch of things really average, and it's all tied to her tether. So I wonder what happens when I use her burst in co-op. Oh. Let's get back to the list. 1. If you multiply her tether damage by 3 or 4, it starts to matter. It's no Varessa, but a 3 tether Dory is about as powerful as an on-field C0 Yai Miko, and 4 tether is stronger. Number 2. Everyone gets healing. In co-op, you die more than you'd expect, because they don't just scale the HP up of enemies, they also scale their damage. Okay, we're good. We're good. Well, we're not good because he's spinning. No, Erica! It's so hard to get this footage. This helps stop that. It also helps with Farina if you're running a setup with her. Number 3. 15 flat energy is pretty good. It's a consolation on some units. 60 flat energy is absurd. That's a burst for most characters. And current leaks say that Stygian Onslaught starts with 0 energy. Turns out multiplying an entire character's kit by 4 makes them a good character. There's a ton more exceptions like this, but I'm not going to get into it right here. I'm sure you can figure it out yourself. I hope you're super excited for the Stygian Onslaught game mode. I am too. That's why I'm running that tournament. I also really want to thank the Genshin Ranked community for help with this video. If you don't know Ranked, it's a 3v3 pickban format. It's really fun to watch and theorycraft. I'll link their Discord in the description as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, you might like this video about the differences between all the Genshin weapon types.